this is Valerie Aiello, and you're listening to IDeaDIary. Thanks for coming back to my office and hanging out. Alright, so I was just on YouTube and somehow this video popped up, and it's about Mr. Delicious, and it's pretty funny. So I just thought I would talk about that today. So there's a restaurant called Rax, R-A-X, and they had a tagline or a slogan of "You can eat here." And I don't know if that's a joke or if that someone thought that was a really good tagline, but it's pretty funny. Rax was originally a roast beef sandwich restaurant in 1967. And between 67 and 82, they closed and opened and had franchises and sold and did all the restaurant things that happened. So it was a successful restaurant, but also not crazy successful. By 1982, I guess they had 221 restaurants in 25 states. And 1981, they were a fast food restaurant, but they decided to add salad bar and potato bar and Chinese food and Italian food and pizza and Mexican food and dessert. They wanted to, I guess in 1981, 82, they wanted to transform their basic fast food restaurant into something that was the champagne of fast foods. And they had carpeting and wood booths and solariums. So I guess it was somewhere between a Sizzler and a McDonald's. It was a fast food restaurant with a drive-through that you could order individual meals, but you could also come in and sit and eat from the all-you-can-eat bar. So when they did the change of just being kind of a fast food, just a place to come and eat for cheap, when they tried to get fancy with it, they didn't raise the prices, but they were still going for this. They were going for something different, I think, than like a McDonald's or something that you could take kids to. They wanted this like mature fast food restaurant that drove away their core working class customers, and it blurred its core business, and profits basically plunged. So in 1988, they decided to refocus on the sandwich thing, and I think save money without so much stuff on the buffet. And in 1991, they got this new board, and they had new management situation. And one of the guys that was in charge of marketing, I guess, he interviewed 50 agencies, and he decided to go with this one agency. And they made this new campaign for the Rax restaurants. And it was a cartoon, grumpy, middle-aged man that had all these problems. And his name was Mr. Delicious. And Mr. Delicious liked to eat at Rax. I can't really explain why it's funny to me, but I'm going to try to play a clip for educational purposes of one of the commercials that they ran. Yeah, just to give you an idea of what this little Mr. Delicious, he was a cartoon. He was a black and white cartoon, so he wasn't flashy at all. He was kind of drawn in a way, it was like a 1960s style cartoony drawing, but with the grumpiness of, so if you remember Archie Bunker, that kind of grumpiness that Archie Bunker had, he had an even older style of grumpiness. So maybe a 1940s grumpiness. It's pretty hilarious. And I think, I don't know, there's two things I think, but here's Mr. Delicious voice.
Hello there. I'm Mr. Delicious, the new cartoon spokesman for Rax Restaurants. My job? to encourage you to enjoy tasty, affordable meals in a more mature dining environment. You see, Mr. Delicious doesn't appreciate unnecessary commotion while he's eating. It brings out the dangerous, hostile side in Mr. D. At least that's what his analyst says. Anyway, at Rack's, Mr. Delicious can enjoy a tasty sandwich or salad without bright yellow formica upsetting his stomach. He can rest his feet on carpet, since Rax has confidence that Mr. D won't drop his twisty fries. He can lose himself in a cheap romance novel without his elbows sticking to the table. And Mr. Delicious always leaves Rax with a few bucks left. That's just grand, because his analyst charges a lot to keep Mr. D's hostility all locked up. So if you're looking for a stress-free fast food alternative, visit Rax and tell him Mr. Delicious sent you. Tickety-dee.
Rax, you can eat here.
It's like the tagline, "You can eat here," is the most hilarious thing in the whole world. I want to open a restaurant just so I can steal it. It's pretty funny. I don't know if it worked as far as advertising, but this happened in 1991. And it's just, there's so many things that are bizarre about it. I feel like the way that this happened is that, so when you have clients and you're proposing a campaign or you're proposing an artwork or you're giving them different cover options, it is my experience, and I don't think of creating client work, I don't have a negative feeling about doing client work. It was something that was fun. I still like to do it occasionally, but I do not do it for a job for this reason, which is whenever you submit a bunch of great ideas or good, average, great, bad ideas, if you give a client a group of choices, they 100% every single time always pick the worst one. They never pick the one that you're super excited about. Or when you're talking to a client and you're getting to know what they really want and you're designing some branding or something like that, you can look into their business as a professional and as somebody that's made tons of logos and tons of branding and has done tons of things, and you can look at all the artwork from all the other people in their industry, and you can take all these things in and you can make something look so great that could definitely sell, that's going to hit the perfect customer base. You can make the greatest thing ever, and they just want what's in their mind. That's has nothing to do with anything else except they think that it's a great idea and they want to see it on paper and they want to see it actualized. And not that that is a bad thing. I never got my feelings hurt showing proofs and giving projects to clients for them to pick their favorites, because it's not personal. You have to give them what they want. They're not paying you to give them what you want. So that put me, after 10 years of doing it, that put me in a position of feeling like I wasn't actually getting to work on the best work and my best ideas and the best approach to things. I was really just kind of making artwork and making things based on someone else's idea and what they wanted, which is what they were paying me for, which was totally fine and totally fun. But at some point, I just wanted more. And I feel like this Mr. Delicious ad campaign is the result of somebody a higher up at a company wanting something that spoke to them, which was they wanted to eat for cheap and they wanted to eat at fast food restaurants, but they wanted to feel like they were in a restaurant, which probably made tons of sense if you were a person with a high paying job and you wanted to go eat somewhere on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, just on a random night where you didn't feel like cooking, but you wanted to eat out, but you didn't want to go to a fancy restaurant. This very small group of people in this very unique situation probably wasn't as profitable as the guy that was creating this plan, this head of this company, or this boss man or woman, whatever it was, they probably didn't get the fact that they could probably make higher profits appealing to a wider range of people with a wider range of problems to solve, being mostly I need food fast and I need food cheap. And, I think McDonald's was probably getting that I need food fast and I need food cheap, and I'm going to bring 3 kids with me and I need them to be entertained for 30 minutes while we order. We sit there and we have fun, and then we move on to what our next thing is. So I see with this campaign, they're trying to get away from, there's a bunch of kids in this restaurant and it's loud and annoying, but they just weren't nailing it. Because I do think some buffet style restaurants are successful. People like that. And I think now, especially in 2020, when you don't really need fast food anymore, you kind of want a fast casual experience, which I think is what they were trying to create, which fast casual is the lower price, higher quality food, and just a little bit more style than your average burger and a wrapper with a side of fries and a soda. Fast casual restaurants, I think that was the thing they were trying to do, but it was kind of an idea that was too early or just not totally executed completely perfectly. It was actually probably executed poorly based on the ad of Mr. Delicious. So there's a bunch of commercials in Mr. Delicious, and one of the awesome things that's on YouTube is they actually made a mini doc of how good Mr. Delicious campaign was going and how smart it was and how funny it was. And I'll link the mini doc below because I think that gives a good idea. And a lot of people have made funny videos kind of letting you know about Mr. Delicious. So it's a pretty funny 10-minute exploration of some marketing advertising jokes. So if you're into that, I'll link some videos below that are pretty funny. I did write down some of the billboard ads that they made, or ads I guess they would put in the newspaper. So they would have a picture, a cartoon drawing of Mr. Delicious. This was some of the advertising copy that went along with Mr. Delicious cartoon and Rack's You Can Eat Here slogan. So Mr. Delicious was there. Mr. Delicious recommends some twisty fries after therapy. So Mr. Delicious has a lot of problems and he goes to the therapist a lot. And after he loves getting French fries. I don't know how this was like a good idea. I think it's just really funny to me. So another advertising ad was Mr. Delicious appreciates the Rack's value menu since his ex-wife took him to the cleaners. Another one, Mr. Delicious prefers eating at Rack's because big clowns and bright yellow formica upset his stomach. So that was like the dig on McDonald's. Mr. Delicious never lets disapproving looks from his companions keep him from going back for large fries. I guess it's kind of making you feel better for ordering more and eating larger fries and using Mr. Delicious as like a team member, somebody on your side. This one was my favorite. Knowing that a bus could run him over at any time, Mr. Delicious can always rationalize a chocolate shake. It's a pretty good ad. When Mr. Delicious has doubts about his manhood, he goes for a beef bacon cheddar. I'm sorry, I'm not funny, so it's very hard for me to like say that. I'm probably not the best one to read these, but this is what I found on the internet today. It was kind of special. Mr. Delicious appreciates the Rack's value menu after a weekend in Reno. I mean, it's so weird. I feel like if somebody would put Mr. Delicious on a t-shirt, it would sell. Maybe not a lot, but somebody wants Mr. Delicious merch. I guarantee you. I feel like it's just one of those things that you think about later and how ridiculous it is, and it's just kind of funny. So I definitely recommend checking out the mini doc about Rax gloating about how amazing the Mr. Delicious campaign was, and just watching some of the commercials because it's just kind of cute. It's kind of funny. 1991 advertising campaign that possibly should have happened in 1941, but it's kind of wild. Anyways, I guess that's the show for today. Something for Saturday night. Something weird for Saturday night. And I still don't know how to end the show, so I'm just going to play the music.